Started doing business on a golf course. President Trump hitting the links with one of his biggest critics of that failed GOP health care bill over the weekend. We're talking Senator Rand Paul. Both men seemingly writing off last week's riff as the pair, well, let's say they call it par for the course. Roll tape.
We had a great day with the president today. We did talk about some health care reform. I think the sides are getting closer together, and I remain very optimistic that we will get Obamacare repeal.
Congressman Scott Perry is a member of the Freedom Caucus, and he joins me now. Congressman, you didn't use the golf analogy. You talked about getting back in a huddle.
That's exactly right. I mean, if you don't make a first down on your first play, you don't take the ball and go home. You get back in the huddle, you figure out what you got to do right, and you go at it again. And the interesting thing about this in Washington, D.C., there's an unlimited amount of times we can go for a first down. So let's get to it.
Although I don't know that the public/audience is going to be happy with watching you guys fumble the ball over and over again. At some point, you got to get your act together, no?
Well, that's exactly right, and that's the reason that you do all this play calling inside the huddle instead of outside the huddle, which is what it's turned into over the last week and a half. So get all this stuff worked out ahead of time, watch the film, do some practicing, make sure where everybody is, and then go out and hit the play. That's how it has to be. Not all this calling the play out in public. That's bad for business, and the public is right to be upset about it.
Yeah, you know, it's so funny because I guess if you're, again, using a football analogy, if we see Tom Brady ripping someone a new one on the New England sideline, we think that's leadership. President Trump wasn't too happy with the Freedom Caucus, and he ripped a few of you guys, and some of you guys pushed back. Is all that stuff now going to be done behind the scenes, back channels, actual meetings, and how does the Freedom Caucus and the Tuesday group get on the same page?
Well, first of all, you have to want to get on the same page. And from my standpoint and all the members of the Freedom Caucus that I know, we never wanted negotiations to be over. We want to fulfill our promise. We're ready to negotiate right through the Easter break, right through the weekends, day and night, all the time to get to a solution. So we're ready to go. You have to be willing to be ready to go. And as far as, the leadership and yelling at somebody, outside the huddle, so to speak, Congress is a different thing. I don't answer to the president. The legislative branch doesn't answer to the executive branch. I answer to 720,000 constituents in Pennsylvania. That's where I take my orders, not from anybody down in Washington, D.C., and you got to respect that for every member.
Although the president is not only president of the country, but he's the leader of your party, your political party, and his success or failure weighs on every single member, right?
That indeed it does. And what we saw in the bill, we were concerned not only about the success for America and ratepayers that were going to pay increasing rates for their health care, but also for the president who is going to have to own those increased rates. People expect the cost of health care and the rates to go down, not go up. Going up is bad for the president. It's bad for America. It's bad for the party.
Before I let you go, sir,
yes, sir.
Is there something that that you were steadfast against 2 weeks ago that perhaps you put on the table, you and or the Freedom Caucus, that you say, okay, you know what, we're willing to make the sacrifice and you give up X?
We've been willing to put everything on the table all the time. People said the Freedom Caucus kept moving the goalposts. We did. We kept moving them closer to what leadership asked for, not further away. So we've been willing all along to try. We want to get to yes, but we want to fulfill our promises. That's number one with our voters and with our constituents and with the country.